My iPhone's showing 6 o'clock, so let's get started. Good evening, David Truitt, Superintendent here, and I've been asked to do the welcome, and I just want to let everybody know how thrilled I am to see you on our Zoom tonight. I know it's a very busy week. When I sent out my Trojan tidbits, I hope you saw that email, and there's quite a lot going on in the lives of our Trojans and Lady Trojans this week. But we're thankful you're here tonight, and the beauty of this meeting is we can record it, post it. Of course, we're offering another one Thursday night, and so we'll have many opportunities for our parents to get the information we're going to share tonight in order to make the best decisions possible for their kids moving forward. For this particular meeting, this means you are a West Middle School parent with a future, meaning 22-23, grade 6, 7, and 8, Trojan or Lady Trojan. If you're here for the high school meeting, it starts at 7. But for the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk about awesomeness of West Middle School. As a reminder, we're recording, and it'd be best if you stay on mute, except for the presenters. Please feel free to use the chat feature at the bottom of the Zoom, and we're going to answer all those questions in writing, and even at the end, we'll go through them and do our best to answer them. Tonight, if you have a specific question about your Trojan or Lady Trojan, it's probably best if you call the counselor starting tomorrow to get your specific questions answered. If it's a global question that all parents on the Zoom tonight might want to hear the answer to, definitely throw that in the chat or during our Q&A time. If you're a St. Mary's parent, I wanted to make sure you knew that we were also offering a special St. Mary's Zoom next Thursday, March the 3rd at 6:30. And again, all these Zooms will be posted to the West ISD YouTube channel, and we'll send that link out. Again, thank you for joining the team. I appreciate, again, you being here tonight. I'm going to kick it over to Chuck Clander, the West Middle School High School principal, who's going to do some introductions, and then we're going to get straight into the course selection information. So take it away, Chuck.
Good evening, parents. So glad you could join us tonight. We're really hard to believe that we're talking about the 22-23 school year. But it's coming fast. So to make sure that we get enough time to answer questions and all of that, we want to go pretty quick with this, with our introductions tonight. We've got 3 of our leading candidates here on our Zoom tonight with us that really help so much with our middle school kids. We'll start first with Miss Claudia McLaughlin. Some of you may remember Miss McLaughlin from her days at the elementary school as being a counselor, and she's going to do a lot of our talking tonight. We also have Miss Jana Protka. A lot of you know Jana. Jana does a great job with us, working with our instructional piece with all of our middle school kids. And then we have Matt Biles. And again, some of you may know Matt. Matt's a longtime West guy, been back with us, works with our student services. So without further ado, I'm going to start it off with Miss McLaughlin, let her talk a little bit about course selection sheets and some of those pathways for you.
Ms. McLaughlin, before you begin, I forgot to share where all this information is. So let me do a quick shared screen.
Okay.
Parents, if you'd like to follow along tonight, we posted everything to our West ISD website. If you're on the phone or want to do a split screen on your laptop or iPad, it's right here under schools. And you can see I added a link that says 2022-2023 West Middle School and High School course selection information. And if you click on that, everything we're sharing tonight is linked to this page. And you can see we're just going through this agenda that I'm showing to you right now on the screen. So I've already talked, Mr. Clander talked, and now Ms. McLaughlin's going to go through these 3 handouts for grades 6 through 8, and we'll continue on with the rest of the agenda. Also at the bottom, you can see all the PDFs are attached if you want to download them, and you can see the contact information for all of us, email and phone numbers. So it's all one-stop shopping for your course selection needs. And so as Ms. McLaughlin goes through this presentation, I'm going to be clicking on these sheets for her and making sure that we've got everything up as she talks. So Claudia, I'll let you take over, and I'll go ahead and click on the grade 6 sheet, and let's get going.
Okay. As the sheet's coming up, this is for incoming 6th graders. So this would apply to current 5th graders. First of all, the 4 core classes, which is English, math, science, and social studies, they will see that every single year that they're in middle school. Our 6th grade ELAR classes, that's the English language arts, those are blocked. And what that means is it takes up two periods. Same thing with math. Math is also double blocked. And so that also takes up 2 periods of the day. If you are looking at the screen, you will notice that it says advanced or regular. And so there is some advanced criteria that needs to be met in order for your student to qualify or your child to qualify for that advanced math course. And Ms. Prodka is going to speak of that in a little bit. Next is science and social studies. That kind of rounds up the core subjects, and that takes up the 5th and 6th period slots. That's not how it is in their schedule, but those are the core classes that every student would take. Then every 6th grader will have a PE class. And usually PE is 1 period, all 6th graders are in there. And then this is when they have, the 8th period is their elective choice. And for incoming 5th graders, the 2 elective choices they have is fine arts. So that would be either they're going to be band or they're going to choose choir. And so that would round out 8 periods for your particular child. Do we want to take questions now or at the end of all 3 of them?
Let's get through all 3, like we said, and then we'll look at the chat and see where we are and reference back.
Okay. Next is 7th grade course selection. And those of you that have a child that's moving up from the 6th grade to 7th grade, this is their course selection sheet, or what they're gonna receive when I go into the classrooms. It is very, very similar to the 6th grade course selection sheet. Again, where we're talking about the 4 core, ELAR, English Language Arts, that one is blocked, so it takes up 2 periods of the day. Math is also blocked, and so that takes up 2 periods of the day. Then they will have their science and their social studies courses, and that will round out their 4 core. Going back to math, there is an advanced, so it could be an advanced or regular, and we'll talk about the criteria here in a second. And then this is a little bit different. Into the 7th grade, they get to pick whether they want to be in regular PE or whether they choose to be in athletics. Athletics is very different, obviously, than PE. That is a course where they're prepping them for competition. And for middle school, it's volleyball, football, cross country, basketball, track. So if your student is going to participate in one or more of those sports, they would want to choose the athletic period, because that is the period where they are prepping them for competition. And then they also get to pick a fine arts elective. And the 2 that they can choose from is band and choir. And that rounds out the 8 periods for 7th grade. Now we're going to pull up the 8th grade one. This one is where they have a little bit more choices. Here's the 8th grade course selection sheet. So going to the 4 core, and it actually kind of have 5 core. So English Language Arts for 8th grade is not blocked. There is a caveat to that, and we'll talk about that here in a second. There is a possibility that your child may be English blocked, but they have to fit into a certain criteria. The 2-3 periods would be, math is the other core. That will be blocked for 8th grade unless they qualify for the advanced course, which is Algebra 1. And Algebra 1 is a high school level course. And so that is not blocked. That is only 1 period of the day. So of course, they have to qualify for that Algebra 1 class. And there are some qualifiers, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Science and social studies will round out the core for 8th grade. We've added another core class for 8th grade, which is the BIM class. 7th grade parents that are going to be 8th grade parents next year. This year, the majority of them had a tech apps class, which is very similar, where it's business applications, software applications. They will learn that in the BIM class. And that is actually a high school level course. So they will get high school credit because BIM is actually offered at the high school level. And so they will receive high school credit. Now, there is a caveat to that. If your child needs an additional ELAR course, and again, there's some qualifiers for that, it's a possibility they will not be able to take that BIM course because ELAR would take a double block, and then their math would be double blocked as well. So it's very small percentage, but there are some that will not be taking that BIM course. And then also they get to pick between an athletics course and a PE course. Again, if they're going to compete in any of those sports programs, cross country, volleyball, football, basketball, track, they would want to pick the athletics. If they do not want to be in any of those things and prep for competition, they would take the regular PE course. And then electives to choose from. This is incoming 8th graders. There's several: band, choir, art, theater, and then yearbook. And yearbook's a very small percentage. So if you choose that one, we're asking the students and the parents to rank those electives, and we always try to give the students their top 1 or top 2, depending on how their schedule pans out. So that's why we want you to rank them 1 through 5. And then again, some students will get 2 electives depending on how their schedule pans out and if they qualify for only one of the math classes, which is the algebra class. So we want you to rank them. It's a possibility you could get 1 or 2. What did I miss? Oh, just wanted to talk about quickly about if they qualify for the Algebra 1 class and if they're taking the BIM class, which is that 6th core. It is high school credit, I mentioned that, but it does not factor into GPA. Oh, my light went out. Hold on. Sorry about that. It does not factor into high school GPA. So those 2 classes, if they qualify for them and they are in those classes, it will be on their high school transcript, but it will not factor into their GPA. So definitely wanted to mention that. And that is all that I have. Did you want me to talk about timelines real quick?
Hold on one second. I'm going to go back to each sheet and explain kind of what the differences are. And y'all jump in, please, if y'all like to add further comment. Looking at the grade 6 course selection sheet, parents, and I noticed we even have some students on there, so it's good to see you guys. The big change at grade 6, there's really only one thing that's different if you've had a 6th grader with us before. We're continuing the block piece. There's a lot to cover in middle school with the TEKS or the standards from the state at grade 6 and 7. It's unique that our middle school has an 8-period day, and so we try to block those cores to make sure the kids are ready for high school. The big change on the 6th grade sheet is choir. It used to say music appreciation as an option, and we're no longer going to offer that at the middle school level because we think it's important that the kids continue what they've learned at West Elementary School, with the current 5th grade program being instrumental based. But then before that, from K all the way through grade 4, it was choral, it was music, music programs. So we wanted to give it an option to continue both. And we're trying to get a fledgling choir going. We're going to dedicate a staffing position to it. Obviously, we have the facilities, and we really want to strengthen the choral program. And so we're going to offer that as an alternative to band. So if your child doesn't want to play a trombone or trumpet or a clarinet or one of the other instruments and want to continue what Miss Leslie has taught them through choral music program, we now have that opportunity for them throughout middle school and even high school. It'll be a 7-year program if your child wants to be a part of that. And so that's the big difference at grade 6. At grade 7, I wanted to point out by going back to that sheet, you heard Ms. McLaughlin talk about how the tech applications class is no longer there. And it's because, again, of block math. We haven't always blocked math at grade 7, but we're planning to for next school year because we've learned there's a lot of material at grade 7. The advanced course technically is grade 7 and 8 condensed into 1 year of math. And we think that's very important that all kids get the 2 periods a day to be ready for the pre-algebra, algebra courses that they will be taking as 8th graders or 9th graders. And then, of course, there's choir again that we mentioned as their alternative to band. And then at grade 8, you heard Ms. McLaughlin share about the BIM class that moved up from grade 7. It is for high school credits. She mentioned that. And then, of course, some new things here with the advanced English course, which we have not offered for a number of years, but it's back. And then, of course, the blocked math for the kids that need it. And so I just want to make sure you knew the differences from the current year and just wanted to run over those one more time. And you can see we're always looking to improve our program to meet the needs of our kids. And we think we've got a great 3-year program that we can use for many years with these changes. And so I'm going to let Claudia now talk about the next steps when she's going to visit with the kids and get sign up going. And so take it away, Claudia, for that portion. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and we'll go back to just us.
Okay. So I am going to visit with the 5th graders at the elementary campus. Last year I did it through Miss Leslie's class, but I don't know whose classes I'm going through, but I will be on campus Monday, March the 28th. And so if you have a 5th grade student, they will be receiving their course selection sheet that if you are watching the screen, they will get that particular course selection sheet. They will bring it home. Any questions you may have, you can write on it. And I need parent signature on there, and then those will be collected. So I'll be going on campus talking to them about what it looks like, what their schedule looks like. I have a video for them that I show them. And so parents just be expecting them to bring that home on Monday, March the 28th is the plan. For 6th graders going into 7th grade, I'll be going into Coach Atkinson's class. I don't have a date, an exact date, but it's probably going to be the week after spring break. And it's kind of a 2-part. This is for 7th and 8th grade. 8th grade, I'll be going to Coach Smith's class. And actually, I'll be going in Friday, March the 4th, which is next Friday. And both for 7th and 8th grade, it's a 2-part system. So I'll go in, talk to the kids about their course selections for next year. They will receive their course selection sheet, take it home for y'all, for the parents to see it, talk about it, decide, and sign it and bring it back. Then I'll go back into the classroom a second time, and we are going to do it as a group. During class, we're going to get on Skyward, and they're going to input their course selections into the computer. And then I will also collect their course selection sheet that day. So they should have their course selection sheet in front of them while we're inputting the courses in the computer. And then I will collect them that day. So again, for incoming 7th and incoming 8th, it's a 2-part system. So they'll receive it one day, we'll talk about it, they will take it home, and then I will go back into the classroom and we will input the course selections into the computer, into Skyward, and I will collect the course selection sheets. My goal is to have them all collected and in Skyward by the last day of March. That doesn't mean that you can't still turn it in. Obviously you can, but it gives us a good idea because we can run reports and see who has chosen what. And so if you qualify, if your student qualifies or your child qualifies, excuse me, for any of the advanced courses, Ms. Protka or myself or Mr. Biles, one of us will give you a call and let you know that because obviously that would affect their schedule. So anyway, that's pretty much it for in terms of the course selection sheets.
All right, Ms. Protka, would you please share, like Ms. McLaughlin said, about the advanced coursework?
Yes, so for advanced math for, oh my goodness, my lights went out. There they come. Sorry. Advanced math for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We are looking at the STAR scores from this year. And if you have a master's score, that's one qualification. Your final class average to be 90 or higher. We're also looking at the end of the year iReady diagnostic score that the students do, and we're hoping that we want it to be at grade level or above grade level. If it comes down to it, we will look at the interim STAR scores too, but right now those three main things that we're looking at are master's scores on STAR this year, end of the year iReady diagnostic, and then a final class average of 90 or higher. That's for 6th, 7th, and then 8th grade math. And then also for the 8th grade, for the reading language arts, we will look at the same thing, same criteria for those. If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat and we'll get right back to you.
All right, let's keep rolling. I wanted to take a moment before Mr. Klander gets back and shares some closing thoughts, and we answer any questions you might have. And just as a reminder, use the chat feature at the bottom. I just saw one question come up, and we'll answer all of these. So if you guys have questions, please drop them in there, and we'll even do a time where you can unmute and ask questions. Since I have a captive audience, I thought this would be a good time to say to everyone, hey, here's some extracurricular activities we have in addition to the athletics and the sports teams that Ms. McLaughlin mentioned at grades 7 and 8. I wanted to make sure all of you knew that we have Builders Club at West Middle School. It's the middle school version of Key Club through the Kiwanis Club of West. Of course, we have Student Council. We have National Junior Honor Society. We have Destination Imagination. We have all the UIL academic competitions along with one act play. We do have a strong 4-H FFA, and it'll have a lot of middle schoolers that compete at the shows. We started a chess club this year. And of course, we have cheerleaders and tryouts are coming up soon. I saw online that there's a meeting this Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. At West Elementary School in Ms. Sulke's room. If you've got a middle schooler that wants to try out for cheerleader. And so that's coming fast. And I think that's the whole list of extracurriculars in addition to athletics. Did I miss any, Mr. Biles or Ms. Protka? Ms. McLaughlin, did I miss any?
We also have the spelling bee.
Spelling bee also, that's coming fast. That's next Monday, and hopefully some of your kids are taking part at the elementary or middle school in the spelling bee. So that's another good thing to remind everybody about. All right, I'm going to kick it to Mr. Klander with the last few items on our online agenda from the website, and then we'll answer any questions you guys have.
Just a couple of quick things. As again, we're in the middle of February, and we're talking about the end of the school year. But as we get closer to the end of the school year, you know, we always have our promotional ceremonies with our 8th grader students as they exit the middle school side of the building, move over to the high school side. We'll be setting that date here very quickly to get that out to all of our families. That will typically be towards the end of the school year with that. We'll also have awards presentations on those days. So those will all be pieces of information that we get out to the family so that you're all able to attend and really celebrate what the activities our students are involved in. Some of the things that Mr. Truitt was talking about, all of the different extracurriculars and even those co-curricular opportunities that we have for our kids. One of the big pushes that we're looking at for this next school year is really trying to get more and more of our students involved in our UIL academic competition. So we're going to be doing some things possibly with our scheduling to allow students to have some practice time throughout the day, different times during the week that it won't have to be a before school or an after school situation, but would be one where the students would have some built-in class time to help with that, because, you know, we know that every student has an opportunity to be successful in some realm, and that's one of the things we feel like would be very beneficial for all of them. So look for some different scheduling opportunities for our kids for that 22-23 school year. To kind of jump into some of our questions that we had, we did have one question in the chat that came up about the number of students that would be allowed in advanced classes. Currently, we're not limiting those students based upon numbers of students, but really it's based upon student performance. So as we get to these opportunities for students to show what they know, is how I like to say it, we really want to really challenge the students to perform to their highest levels, not only on the STAR test, because, you know, that's one of those opportunities that they are ranked not only within our middle school, but also across the state, but also on the interim test, on our iReadies, those diagnostics of those things. So those are areas where we want kids to really perform at their highest level possible. So I encourage your students to do that. I know the teachers are getting that information out to the kids when those dates are, so we can make sure we maximize their performance. Does anyone else have any questions at this time?
Mr. Klander, I got a text that Mr. Biles was going to answer for us. So Mr. Biles, why don't you take that question we got?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base, and this was really across all grade levels. Just want to make sure that I know Ms. McLaughlin is going to talk to our students about this, but with having parents on here as well, I think it would be good to address, is that parents and students both alike need to understand that our electives are essentially a year-long commitment. It does make scheduling difficult, or scheduling changes difficult if we're changing those schedules entirely based off of electives. And I may be specifically referring to those incoming 7th graders that are going to go into athletics. It is difficult to switch them from athletics to PE. So for example, if you're a male athlete that is a 7th grader is coming in to play football, and then football season is over, and they decide that now that I'm done with football, I want to go to PE. They wouldn't necessarily go to PE. They would go into our athletic off season and finish the year with athletics rather than jumping from athletics to PE. So, and again, that's kind of across the board. That's the same thing with band, choir, art, theater, yearbook. Those are all year-long commitments, and we'd like to see those kids see those things through.
All right, are there any other questions? The chat is empty. Does anybody want to unmute and ask questions that we can answer? And if we don't know the answer, we'll get the answer for you. All right, wasn't trying to put anybody on the spot there. Of course, you can always email us, call us. You know, each week you get my Trojan tidbits, and if you reply to those, you get me. And I can get it to Claudia or Mr. Klander or whomever if I don't know the answer. But we're here to help. That's the main thing of why we wanted to start having these Zooms this week before spring break in particular, because we know the year is going to go fast and we're going to have all the end of the year activities before we know it. It'll be summer, and we just really wanted to touch base and record it so we could get it posted. But we wanted to make sure you also knew that we're trying to do our best to communicate with you about the 2022-2023 school year. And so we're here to help, and we're here to serve. Anything we can do to make the transition as smooth as possible, that's our goal. I know Mr. Klander is working on a number of end of the year activities for 5th grade to 6th grade to come and tour. We're going to have a lot of summer things. He has a vision for 8th to 9th and 5th to 6th and some different things for those kiddos. And so look for those dates and that information as it's published as next school year gets here closer and closer and closer. Before we know it, it'll be August. All right, so I'm going to look in the chat one last time. All right, still empty. So again, the next step is Ms. McLaughlin will get around to the 5th, 6th, and 7th graders, and you'll see those sheets come home. I loved how she said it. We're a little old school in the sense. She said, simply write your questions on the form and she'll get with you. That's an easy way to do it. Doesn't even involve email. Fill it up if you've got questions, and we'll get the answers to you. And the advanced academic question we received, you know, just as a reminder, we'll look at the data from the year and the STAR scores, and you'll be notified about that piece. And so it's not something you'll see until this summertime after we get everything back from the state. So just wanted to remind you of that timeline. All right, Mr. Cleaner, anything else?
No, sir, other than just to thank the families for taking some time to listen to the presentation. And again, just as Mr. Truitt said, guys, if you have any questions about anything at any time, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help. We're here to serve your kids and provide them with the best education that we can.
All right, Ms. McLaughlin, anything else? Ms. Protka?
No, thank you all for joining tonight. We really appreciate it.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Mr. Biles? All right. All right, take care, everyone, and I'll get this posted to the YouTube channel for your friends that missed out. Thank you again, and have a good evening. Go Trojans, Lady Trojans.